What's up guys, Matt Laidlaw here, coming to you from LA area's oldest, largest, and finest Harley-Davidson dealership, Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson. So what we're finding is a lot of people don't adjust their preload properly on their Harley-Davidson motorcycle. So in this video, I'm going to be going into how to properly adjust the suspension on one of the brand new 2018 Softails with the new mono shock. So there's three different ways depending on which Softail you picked up. There's one with the external knob adjustment, one with the hydraulic adjustment, and one with just the spanner wrench. And so I'm going to be going into how to adjust the suspension properly for your weight on these three different types of preload adjustment for the brand new 2018 Softails. So this chart is out of the 2018 Softail Owner's Manual. So we're going to be doing a Heritage first. The Heritage is the FLHC. This bike happens to be the FLHCS just because it's the 114 cubic inch model, but they are both the same. The shock is the same on both the 107 and the 114. So I'm going to refer to table 216 here for the Heritage. So let's go down to the bottom. So we're going to set the suspension for my weight. I'm 220 pounds. So at 220, the adjustment is 1.5. And so you might ask, what does that 1.5 mean? I'm going to show you in better detail in the video, but basically I'm going to be hiding 1.5 discs on the hydraulic adjuster. It's an 8mm wrench that you spin, and there's a bar there that you either bring out or hide depending on the weight and the adjustment of the rider. Now I like to point out too, if I have a passenger on the back, up here at the top, this is additional cargo in pounds. So for every 20 pounds I add, it's about a half a disc that I need to make an adjustment. So if I throw a passenger on the back that weighs 140 pounds, well, that takes me all the way to 5, which is a big difference, to 1.5 to 5. So that just goes to show you that depending on how much weight you have on these things, the preload adjustment on these bikes is dramatically different. So it really changes the shock absorption and the handling characteristics of these bikes depending on where you set your preload on these things. So you really want to make sure that you take a look at this chart and you set up the preload according to your weight. The other bike that has this hydraulic adjustment is the FLDE, which is a deluxe, but you can see here it's different. So if I'm a 220 pound rider, it's just an adjustment of 1. So it's the same type of adjuster, but it's a different shock. On the Heritage, you have a taller shock, so the preload chart is completely different. So you really want to make sure that you pick the right chart for your bike. So right now 5 lines are showing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is backed out all the way. This is the softest setting for the suspension. So this is counterclockwise all the way out. You go by the lines here. So these are the two tools you get with every Softail, other than the ones that come with the external adjustment knob. Your Fat Bob, Breakout, Fat Boy, and Sport Glide. So the Heritage is one of 2 bikes that comes with this hydraulically adjusted preload here. The other one being the Deluxe.
You're right between.
We'll go to Professor Andrew here. Professor Andrew.
Looking at my trusty diagram. It would be 0 additional weight of passenger, cargo, and accessories.
No passenger.
Okay.
No cargo.
So we'll call it 1.5.
So this is backed all the way out. You can see 5 lines. So Andrew's turning it clockwise now to hide. So for 220 it said 1.5, so we're hiding 1.5 of the discs. So that's at 1 right there. And now we're gonna hide a half.
Call that half.
A little bit more, that's good. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 are showing. So you can see, according to the diagram, we've put it between the 1 and the 2. So it's, right now it's between the 1 and the 2. And that's set for a 220-pound rider, which we're doing it for my weight. I weigh about 225. 220.
No cargo, no passenger.
With no cargo, no passenger.
Let's see, look at the charts.
Alright, so the next bike we're going to do is the FXBB, which is the Street Bob. Now, the Street Bob does share a graph with the FXLR, which is the lowrider. The other bike that has this type of suspension that's adjusted with the spanner wrench is the Slim. Now, the Slim has its own chart, so make sure you don't use this chart for the Slim. But for the Street Bob, we're going to stick to my rider weight, which is 220 pounds. So the adjustment is 2. Now, this is quite a bit different. You know what the number means here has nothing to do with discs or lines or anything like the hydraulically adjusted one does. There's an actual number and there's an arrow indicating what number it should be at. So there's an actual a 1 through 7 adjustment on the shock that I'll show you in just a minute, but with no additional rider weight, 220 pounds, the number is 2. Here's actually a close-up shot of how we're going to adjust the Street Bob. So this is your mechanism here, this is your spanner wrench, and there's basically teeth there that you're going to put into the different holes, and you're going to rotate this basically clockwise to increase the preload and counterclockwise to decrease the preload. So, and this is the one we just did here. We just did the hydraulic adjuster. Cool, thanks Keith, appreciate it. Alright, so Andrew's taking off the Street Bob seat now. It's just one screw. Pulls right off. So the same tool that we use for the Heritage. So instead of using it like this to adjust the hydraulic tensioner, instead of using this end, we're going to be using this end to adjust on the Street Bob and on the lowrider. So that's 1 again. Preload all the way out. You can see the arrow. Move your light above it a little bit more. There you go. The arrow is at the 1 right there. So that means the preload is all the way out. You have no preload right now. So we're back to 2. It's back to 3. So you'll hear like a very distinct click for every number you go up. That's 4. That's 5. So there's a very, very distinct click every number you bump it up.
How's it going? Oh, not too bad.
We're gonna go back down to 2. So right now it's at 2. Alright, so for the Fat Bob, it's nice and convenient because you don't have to take the seat off to get to the adjuster. You don't have to use the spanner wrench or the hydraulically adjusted system underneath the seat. So for your Fat Bob, your Fat Boy, your Breakout, and your Sport Glide, you have this external knob adjuster here. So it's literally all done with your hands. You can do this on the fly, so maybe you're riding solo. You pick up that unexpected lovely partner at the bar or whatever, and you can adjust it for a passenger. So sticking with my weight again, no additional weight, I'm going to do a 0.5 preload adjustment. So I'm going to show you what that means, but yeah, if you notice, the adjustment is different on all three of the bikes that I've shown you. So once again, very important to look at the chart for your specific bike and adjust it for your specific weight. So once again, 0.5 on the Fat Bob. So what we're going to do here is, this is already all the way out, but basically you turn the knob counterclockwise all the way, and you can see that it's down to the 0 there. So I'm going to set this bike up for my weight, which again is about 220 pounds. You can hear distinct clicks every half turn. So I'm going to go halfway to 1, and that's going to be 0.5. So that'll be set up for a 220 pound rider. If you're below 200 pounds, guys, you can see here, if you're below 200 pounds, then you just back it all the way out, and you don't have to give it any preload at all. And if you're up to 280 pounds, it's just 1.5 on the dial. So you'll be between the 1 and the 2. And then you can see here, as you add weight, let's say you're 220 pounds, but you've got 40 pounds of luggage on there, whatever, and then you're at 1.5 turns. So let's say you pick up a passenger. Let's say you weigh 220. You pick up a passenger that's 120 pounds. Then you can dial it up to 3.5 real quick, which is going to be between the 4 and the 3. So that's a big difference in preload, guys. If you're ever riding with a passenger on these bikes, the preload setting is going to be dramatically different. So yeah, something to make sure you do if you're riding with a passenger is to change the preload on the bike. That's all, folks. So that about sums it up on how to adjust these new 2018 Softails. If I was able to help you guys out, give me a thumbs up, like the video. And if you have one of these 2018 Softails already, I would strongly encourage you to check your preload settings and make sure that your preload is dialed in properly for your weight. If you haven't ridden one of the new 2018 Softails, guys, I definitely would invite you to come on down and see us at Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson and take a test ride on one. I've ridden all of these Softails now, and really every time I get on them, I just am blown away by how much better these new frames, the new chassis and the new suspension does on these Softails. It blows away the old Dynas, it blows away the old Softails. These things are just a better riding, more comfortable bike, and a better handling bike as well. But you gotta dial in your preload properly. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I try to get back to everybody. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Take care. Okay, I'm not going to be taking the seat off actually, because I don't want to undo this too.
We're not using this, are we?
No.